All right, man, peace. So, brothers, this is going to be volume 1 in a new series that I'm starting called Are Your Friends Ruining Your Life? I believe that it's in the Apocrypha in the King James 1611 Bible, chapter 37, starting at verse 1. And I'm paraphrasing where it says something along the lines of, every man will say, I am his friend also. But there is a man who's only a friend in name, meaning what? He just calls himself your friend, but in all actuality, he's just sidling up next to you, trying to siphon off of your energy, your gifts, and your creations. But in that dark day when you hit adversity, he's going to be one of the first people to turn against you because he's going to be privy to your secrets. Always be very wary of who you call a friend and why. And even for the people who might be your actual friends, you have to constantly take inventory of what their contributions are in your life. Are they an asset or a liability? Sometimes we carry people too long and they end up weighing us down. I touched on this notion in another video. Our lives are like a book, and each section of our lives is like a chapter in that book. When you went to kindergarten, say from infancy to kindergarten, that's a chapter. Your elementary school life is a chapter. Junior high school and high school is another chapter. College, if you decide to go to college, is another chapter. Your life after college, in your 20s, when you're experimenting with real life, that's a chapter. Your 30s are a chapter. Each relationship is a chapter. And I think that many times brothers don't quite grasp that it's very difficult to take the characters that are normally associated with each chapter and carry them over into future chapters. Most characters that you come across in your life are meant to be contained within that chapter, meaning what? Your elementary school friends, for the most part, are going to maintain within that elementary school chapter. It's very rare that people are still friends with the people that they were friends with in elementary school. It happens, but it's rare. High school, the same thing. College, sometimes those friendships are able to last into other chapters. But depending on the scope with which you think, many times it's going to be conducive for you and best for you to end those relationships within those chapters. You might work at a job and come across a cast of characters there. And it might be best for you to cut off those characters when you leave that job, because what you'll find is that most characters are most comfortable within the chapter that you met them in. They want to stay at that old job and around those old people. And if you're growing, you're not going to be able to carry those characters over with you. And sometimes it can even affect your personal relationships if you try to carry a friend from a previous chapter over into a new chapter in your life as you're growing. Why am I saying all this? We're going to encounter in this court case that the plaintiff has a boyfriend who is extremely tight with the defendant. And the defendant is an entitled fuck up. He's charismatic, he's clownish, but he's still an entitled fuck up. He's an ex-convict, and the plaintiff's boyfriend stood by him. They were quote unquote criminals together, brothers in arms, and they're loyal to one another. And that's a very good thing. That's a great thing. But we also have to understand that sometimes our friends from previous chapters are jealous or envious over our growth, and they might try to sabotage the good things, the functional things that are going on within the new chapter. So it's up to you to have the discernment to figure out whether or not you need to cut certain people off. Sometimes you have to cut people off who are not necessarily bad people. They're just trying to drag you back into that old chapter. And you've grown too much to be relegated to that. So you have to figure it out. But anyway, they're going to talk about it. I'm going to chime in.
You may now be seated. Start with you.
Well, Judge, I've known Sean, Mr. LB, maybe since 1997. He's actually the best friend of my fiance, Pierre. Back in the days, they used to hustle drugs, you know, like in the streets. And 2005, Sean was sentenced to 14 years federal prison for selling narcotics.
So damn, you knew this dude for 23 years? That means that you knew him back when he was doing all his dirt. So really, the problem that exists between the plaintiff and the defendant is more than just what she's going to take him to court about or what the litigation is about. She most likely has never liked him. They probably have never liked one another, or maybe, They may have done something with each other way back in the day, and that's still a sticking point between the two of them, and the plaintiff's boyfriend doesn't know about it.
Now, when he came home, we allowed him to come and stay in our house.
How much was it?
A lot.
What does that mean? 100 kilos? 200 kilos?
Nah, about overall they said $3 million worth of narcotics.
You know what that means? That could be street value. That's all right, man. You avoiding it.
So we
Thank
allowed...
God you're out, though. When did you get out?
27th of March, 2019.
Good. Yes.
Oh, so he fresh out.
Okay, so well, Mr. Ellaby, after he came home from prison, we allowed him to come and stay in our house, rent-free, no responsibilities of paying no bills, nothing. The only thing...
That was part of the problem. What you were doing was enabling his sense of entitlement. Even if you want to say he's fresh out, he can't pay back any bills yet. At least write a promissory note to let him know that once you leave from here, you need to reimburse us with an approximation of what we've been able to give to you or share with you. And that's not to oppress the brother, but at least to introduce him to a sense of accountability. That's one of the main things that we're missing in the so-called black community, is a sense of accountability. Everyone thinks that everyone else owes them something. And that's why we're in a state of stasis as a so-called community. We can't grow because we're always looking at someone else to empower us as opposed to empowering ourselves.
that I required was no women in my house.
No, you sound crazy.
Now, it's funny as hell, and she does sound crazy, but I have no problem with it. Why is that? Because she's a woman. Why would she want the type of women that a dude who's been locked up for 14 years would bring into her home? What that's going to entail is missing shoes, missing purses, missing jewelry. Because the type of women that he's going to be bringing into her home to knock down most likely may have a criminal background their damn self. Let me rewind this back a little bit.
Nothing. The only thing that I required was no women in my house.
No, you sound crazy.
It's not your time. It's not your time.
Thank you. I'm turning over to you. Matter of fact, I'm going to turn my back on you.
You lucky that wasn't me. Let me come home from doing a 14-year bid, and you talk about I can't have no women. I'd have said, well, somebody's fucking somebody in your house tonight.
Together. Now, it wouldn't have been as bad.
No.
If the man hadn't been in prison for 14 years.
Right, but you know what? I understand where she's coming from. Once again, that's her home. She wants order in her home, and she knows him better than you do. She knows what type of person he is. She knows that he's a user, and she's probably doing him a favor on the strength that his best friend is her man. So I have no problem with her saying, don't bring none of them hoes in my house.
How you gonna tell a man that's been in prison 14 years that you can't have no women?
Easy with her lips. And if you don't like it, get your own place, get a room, and you can knock down all the bitches you want in that room.
Oh my God. No. What else you want to tell me before I go over to him, man? What are the other conditions?
Well, besides him.
I mean, look, that's a sweet deal. If you're not paying rent, you're not paying utilities, they're providing you with food, room and board, and all that you have to concern yourself with is not getting any pussy. I mean, come on, how long you plan on staying there anyway? You've been without pussy for 14 years. You can't go another 2 or 3 months until you get on your feet? That's an incentive to get him out of her house. If you let him be too comfortable, he's never going to want to leave.
The rule, Sean is very nosy, cocky, always jumping in people's conversations when it has
I could see that.
nothing to do with him. Anytime I would
You want to let him get that energy out of him. Go ahead.
well, he needs to.
He can get that energy out of him when he get a job or a career and get his own damn place. He's a grown-ass man.
My house, else to get that energy out. Go run around the block.
All right.
Go
man.
take the
Go ahead.
garbage out. Go mow the lawn. Something other than taking
That's
energy
your
out
rule,
in
your
my
house,
house.
your
Agreed.
My
your
house, my rules.
Your
Agreed.
Or he
and no
could've-
sex.
Right.
That's
there
right.
you go. Now that's the rule.
She was like Martin from Bad Boys too. She like, as soon as he walked in, she said, "And there ain't gonna be no fucking tonight."
He broke. So one day I came downstairs, and in my family room there was some shoes that did not belong to me. And next,
Were the heels clear? That's all I need to know. Were the heels clear?
I started hearing these moaning and groaning noises, and it was Sean upstairs humping and bumping with some chick. And I told Pierre it's time for him to go. So he didn't know it's not your turn.
How's that check in there?
He's like, no. It wasn't time for me to go. It was time for me to come.
No.
It's 6 in the morning. They should be sleeping.
No.
I'm trying to get in and
Now with the
out.
noise you make, you've been gone for 14 years. I know you was howling at the moon. Go ahead, man.
At 6 in the morning, I'm up because I
Yeah,
had a
you don't have
job
to explain that. All right, I got that. Let me allow him to give some background.
Your Honor, I've been in the streets hustling since I was 12 years old. You know, my mother and father was addicts, so I took on responsibility since I'm the oldest to take care of my younger siblings. In my time being in the street, I met Pierre. We became real close. It's been about 22 years now. And, you know, like she said, I caught 14 years in the feds. In my time in the feds...
Did you do any time?
Yes, Your Honor.
He didn't get you up there.
This dude look like he runs a lounge or something, man. He really cleaned himself up, or the chick cleaned him up, because he don't look like he did any time. But I mean, hey, life makes you grow.
No. Or y'all on the conspiracy together? Or y'all wasn't on the same case?
No.
All right,
No,
go ahead.
Don't do that. I don't do that. But long story short, the 14 years changed me. You know, I'm a law-abiding citizen now. I'm a commercial driver. I'm a tattoo artist. You know, I got a whole different appreciation for life. Now, mind you,
That's good. That means that you're the liberal black woman's dream. A former thug who's trying to go straight. Oh my goodness. You should have just left your IG handle on the show. You'd have been knocking all type of boots by that weekend.
transitions, Mr. Thompson, Pierre, he helped me get out because he filed the motion through a lawyer, which I appreciate. You know, it's my friend. Love him to death.
He's a great friend. He just has to watch himself. He has to watch himself and understand that he's growing. So he has to make sure that you're growing as well, as long as you're going to maintain in his life. Because if he's not vigilant over you guys' mutual growth, you're going to try to hold him down. Once again, just looking at the plaintiff, he's not someone that you would look at and say, okay, this guy did some time in the feds. He's really cleaned himself up, or this chick has really cleaned his ass up.
In that time, you know, the 22 years I know him, I met Rashid, Now, Rashid, she good people. She just aggravating.
I can imagine. She comes off as a big nagger, but at the end of the day, that is her home. And she has the right to say that she does not want any $2 whores walking up and down her staircases and through her hallways. You never know what these little scraggly ass bitches are coming into your house to do. Could be to steal your damn silverware, steal your shoes, steal your necklaces, your jewelry, etc. I don't blame her one bit.
She's annoying. She's aggravating. She's hypocritical. She plays this church thing. Oh, I'm so church.
All liberal women play the church thing. They all claim that they're so close to God. God is my husband. Christ is my husband. All that silly shit. While they're still dressing like whores, they're not obeying the dietary laws. They're not adhering to or keeping the high holy days of the scriptures at all. So, I mean, it's whatever. I don't even pay what the liberal woman says any attention. Is in one ear, out the other.
I've been home 7 months. I ain't say go to church yet. Somebody go to sleepy church. I don't know. It might be a night church. When I'm asleep,
Night
I don't know. I don't know what type of church it is, but I haven't seen the day church, so it could be.
Let me rewind this back.
In that time, you know, the 22 years I know him, I met Rashid. Now, Rashid, she good people. She just aggravating. I can't even take it. She's annoying. She's aggravating. She's hypocritical. She plays this church thing. Oh, I'm so church. I go to this. I've been home 7 months. I ain't say go to church yet. She might go to a secret church. I don't know. It might be a night church. When I'm asleep, I don't know what type of church it is. But I haven't seen the day church. So it could be some night church going on, you know.
You don't see me go to church because I put you out.
I ain't see a church. She might be like secret society church. It could be like, I don't know.
Hey, she might be a witch. Who the hell knows?
So go to church. You go to church?
Yes, sir. I go to church.
What church?
What's the name of it?
New Bethel Church of God in Christ, City of Praise.
When it?
Oh, them churches be having them long ass titles, and none of the people who go there know anything about the Bible at all.
Assistant Jamar Frazier.
They not open those days I've been
They
there.
are 2020 Broadway, Schenectady, New York.
They must be closed for renovations.
No.
I'm gonna call my pastor, Bishop.
This nigga said they must be closed for renovation.
Who's the presiding bishop over the International
Kojic,
Church of God in Christ. I know. I'm gonna call him and see. Give me a phone.
But in that time, Your Honor,
I'm just kidding.
in that time, Your Honor, you know, that's how I've changed my life.
Good.
You know, and
Good.
I'm focused on getting my life in order.
Good.
You know,
Glad to
helping
hear
my
that.
loved ones and friends. The transition's been real smooth.
Now, tell me about the car.
So I used to own a 2008 Dodge Charger. Sean asked me if he could borrow my vehicle, and I told him no because he did not have a driver's license.
I had a permit.
So
I was on my way to
you
get
didn't.
the license.
He did not.
Right, but even if you have a permit and you don't have a license, and someone tells you cannot drive their car, that's the end of the conversation. That's how you know that this dude still has entitlement issues. And if the plaintiff's boyfriend or fiance is not careful, he's going to allow the defendant to ruin his future life that he's trying to make with this woman. No matter how annoying she is, that's his woman, so that's his business.
Have a driver's license. I
was a
told
week away.
him no.
Sir, that's enough. Go ahead.
So
You told him no.
yes. So Mr. Pierre came to pick me up from work on that evening, and while he was there at my job, he said Sean had an accident with my car and we needed to go pick him up because a state trooper had him. And I'm like, how did he get my car? He's like, oh, well, he asked me if I could use it, and I told him yes. I said, I already told Sean no, he could not use my car. So he's like, I didn't know that you told Sean that he couldn't use your car. So when we arrived where he was with the state trooper, he loves being in the back of a cop car.
Stop that.
You know what? What she's saying is not that funny. It's meant to be funny, but when I say that it's not that funny, it's a reflection on him, because she's correct. It's very obvious that, and you know, some people, drama just follows them. Negativity follows them because of their poor decision making. And for him to take her vehicle after she told him no, that shows that there are still certain lessons that he should have learned during his incarceration that he refuses to accept. One of the main things that criminals have in common is that they think everything belongs to them.
I told him, you're going to have to pay for my car.
Look, Mathis thinks the shit is funny. Mathis likes the defendant.
Because I specifically told you no. And he says, I'll take care of it. Now he's saying, oh, it's a death trap. I shouldn't have to pay for it.
What happened? Did
He
you find
totaled
out
the-
the
he
details?
totaled the car.
Did you
He's-
find out how it occurred?
He's saying that the car had bald tires and that it was a piece of crap.
But it had to hit something to be totaled.
He went off the road and
Okay.
tore up the undercarriage.
Okay, did the police come to
Yes,
the
the police
scene?
came, they totaled the car out, and they had to tow the car away.
And he told them that occurred, that it slid off the road. Did he give them any other details?
Yes, he
No?
told them that my car had bald tires. That's why he slid off the road.
Okay. Let me hear from you, sir.
Now, Your Honor, on the day in question, I asked her, can I use the vehicle? I did ask her, because I had some things to do, some errands to run. She got 2 cars. She only used one. You're not going to use them both.
Right, but bro, she said no. Clearly she doesn't trust you, nor should she. Number 2, you don't have a license.
In their driveway, you know? So she says no. I said, okay, I made an executive decision to go above her head. I said,
How the fuck you gonna make an executive decision on a woman who's not your woman and is not your house? Once again, brothers, be very careful with the type of friends that you keep. Even though the plaintiff clearly loves the defendant, that's his boy, that's his man, whatever. You have to be very careful. You know, the main plot of one of my favorite movies from the 1980s, Beverly Hills Cop, wasn't that it was some charismatic young black cop who went from Detroit to Beverly Hills to solve a crime. It was that he was going to have to clean up the dysfunctional fuckery of his friend. And his friend ended up dead because, seemingly like the defendant here, negativity followed him. And Axel Foley was very fortunate because if you remember in the film, the hitman kills his friend and just pistol whipped Axel Foley. He could have killed him too.
Hey, bro, I need to use the car. I got some things to do. You know, I got to run around. He's like, okay, take the keys, right? Get the key, go. I said, all right, I got you. I'll be back. So I runs around, make my little errands, and go see my little ladies' friends because I can't have them at the house. So that it starts raining. As I'm coming home, it's a steep turn you have to get off the exit to go to the house. As I'm coming around this turn, the car starts to slide. The car slides, hits a cement foundation that's in the ground. I guess it used to be a light at one time or something. The car went over that, it ripped the whole undercarriage up, and I went down a hill. Now, mind you, being that I'm such an extraordinary individual, I walked away unscathed. Because anybody else...
So you still didn't learn your lesson. You didn't see that was judgment from the Most High for you taking property that wasn't yours. Instead, you prefer to see it as you're a supernatural human being because you walked away unscathed from that shit. Okay.
Would have died in this accident. This was a death trap on wheels.
Why shouldn't you pay?
I felt I shouldn't pay because she had a death trap on the road. This car couldn't pass inspection with
What's your counterclaim for?
Emotional stress.
What did she do to you?
Emotional stress.
She emotional because she let me get. She had a death trap registered and insured on the road, and it shouldn't have been on the road. It should not have been on the road.
And
I don't know how this nigga's keeping a straight face with this bullshit.
And I saved her. I said she should be paying me for saving her life.
No.
Because had that been her, she might not need it.
I told you no.
She might not need it. She's so little.
Please tell me your lawyer, because you should sue him for malpractice. He didn't allow you to testify in your own defense at trial, did he, over your drug trial, did he? I would have gave you...
Yeah, thank goodness, because had he testified on his own behalf, he might still be in prison serving life for stupidity.
If you talk like this at the drug trials, that is faulty logic, first of all.
It's jackassery.
Are here. She told you no. So when you took it anyway, you committed a crime if she wanted to file.
Thank you.
Because she told you no when you took a car, and she told you no. When you take something from somebody and they tell you not to, that's theft. That's
Another
make
crime.
the viewers think you don't know the difference. Now, they're going to say, he don't even know the difference between right and wrong. He doesn't know what a crime and isn't a crime.
Of course he doesn't, because he's dealing with entitlement. He's still being enabled by his friend. His friend might have to cut him off to help him learn the difference between right and wrong and what you can and can't do, because he put his friend in a bad situation when he goes and asks him for permission to drive the car when the chick already told him no. So now the friend goes to his woman and says, we have to help such and such because he's being detained by the police after a car crash or a car accident. And the friend doesn't even know that his own woman already put the kibosh on the defendant trying to borrow the car. I mean, what if the chick looks at him and says, you know what, I can't deal with your fuck up friend. We can't be together because your friend is bringing you down with him and it's fucking up everything. Already, the dude's been here for a couple of months and my car is totaled. Now what?
Need to go back in. So stop it.
Yeah.
They're going to say people that have been freed need to go back in because they don't know the difference between right and wrong. And that is a crime, taking her car. At the very least, it's negligent. You created the first negligent act or illegal act by taking it. Everything that follows that goes wrong is your fault.
Ding.
Because had you not committed the illegal or negligent act in the first place, none of that would have happened. It could very well be that she told you no because she knew those things were wrong. And she may have known how to operate a raggedy car. But trust that you knew. So I know how to operate my own raggedy car, but you're not going to know how to operate my raggedy car.
That bro probably like Han Solo. Remember Han Solo was the only one who could fly the Millennium Falcon? other than Lando. Then, of course, we come to find out that the Superwoman chick in Force Awakens, she can fly the Millennium Falcon because she's a woman, so she's perfect. But point being is this, to Judge Mathis's point, sometimes the only person who knows how to operate a particular vehicle is the driver.
No. You got it. You tried to operate the raggedy car, and you couldn't. Like she told you.
Who she says spent 14 years in prison for selling drugs.
So you owe the woman her money, sir. Your counterclaim is dismissed. Your claim is granted. Good luck to you, man. Keep us proud. All right? Have a good day.
Yeah, keep us proud and stop stealing people's cars, man.
I still feel emotionally stressed. I got PTSD. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why the judge didn't see it in my favor. Obviously, I saved her life. I should have got paid just for saving her life. Like, you know, but I'm still going to go to her restaurant and eat a lot of empanadas because she's a good cook anyway, so.
In all seriousness, he needs to consider a comedy career. He has good timing. He has good storytelling ability. And he knows how to take the people in his personal life and turn things into something humorous or into something comedic. So he might want to think about that.
You know, I ain't got nothing else to do.
That's my boy. I love him. He's like my brother. Ain't nothing gonna happen. That's it.
God bless the defendant with a man like that. A person like this, who's strong enough to stand up to his woman and has that level of loyalty. I hope that the defendant never fucks up the relationship that he has with the plaintiff's boyfriend or her man, because it's very rare that you come across people with that caliber of loyalty. Cat said nothing's going to happen. That's my brother. I love him. That's very fucking rare. So the defendant has been blessed.
But too.
But what? He's going to do what?
He's going to pay that money.
Exactly. He's going to pay.
I got to.
But anyway, that's basically it on that. So peace.